So my name is Nitin Mathur. I'm the proud father of a 3.5-month-old daughter now. Me and my wife Aparna, we picked CK Birla Hospital for women to get our delivery. One of the big reasons was because they have a good water birth facility over here. And we were, ever since we took a tour of the hospital, we read up a little bit more about the water birth. We got very interested in trying it out. The reason being that mostly in hospitals in India, when you go for a delivery, it's a fairly medicated and slightly traumatic process. Which are the stories that we'd heard of from friends. There's a high incidence of C-section deliveries, and B, even in normal deliveries, you end up going through an epidural, which often triggers the need for more interventions, more medication, etc., etc. And it doesn't end up being as pleasant as what you'd read about, online with, how people in the West go through their deliveries. So what attracted us to the water birth was this, that there is a good chance that the heated water acts enough as an analgesic that you do not need an epidural or other medical intervention to reduce the pain, and that often gives you the best chance for a fully natural delivery. Of course, for that, everything needs to be normal in the delivery, which it was for us, luckily. So we decided that we'll start with the water birth and see if that is manageable enough for my wife. And there was always the option that if it's not, we can always go back to a regular birth and an epidural, etc., etc. But luckily, she was fairly comfortable in the water. Whatever pain there was manageable with the enteronox gas, which the hospital here has. And we were able to have a completely normal delivery, no surgical interventions at all. Which is what we were looking for, and I think it ended up being a lot calmer than what a normal delivery is. So it was a dimly lit room, just a couple of people there to help out, and the labor progressed at the pace at which my wife was comfortable with, which is how it is generally probably done in a water birth, as opposed to many people in the room shouting at the mother to push, get the baby out, etc. So it was a much calmer experience, which is what we wanted, and ended up giving us a completely normal delivery, which is always great for both the baby and the mother. So one of the questions in our mind was, is it safe for the baby? So I think we were pretty confident that it's a better experience for the mother because it naturally reduces the pain, etc., etc. But is it safe for the baby? Will the baby suffocate, etc., etc.? Those are all sorts of questions. So we did a lot of research, and I think for one thing that's not obvious to a lot of people is that the baby, when it's born, breathes through the umbilical cord. And the baby is in a sack of water. So for the baby to come out into water, it's probably more comfortable than a normal delivery, because the baby doesn't even know it's been born, which was quite interesting, because normally when you see babies coming out, they are typically crying. But in our case, when our daughter came out, she was absolutely calm, just looking around at the room, seeing what was happening, because I think it's a much smoother introduction into the world for the baby. So until you get the baby out of the water, the lungs don't start working. So there is no danger that the baby will inhale water or anything like that. And I think there were 2-3 nurses, so in case, to help the mother get out of the water, etc., etc. And doctors are always on standby in case something goes wrong, but there is no specific risk that we found as such of delivering in the water. There's no specific risk that's greater than a risk in a normal childbirth. Obviously, this is provided the baby is in the right position and things are relatively normal, which is the only case in which a hospital will recommend the water birth in the first place. But if things are fine, then we were pretty confident that there's no risk, because I think that's a factor that plays in a lot of people's minds. And what we found was that not only is it a better experience for the mother, it's probably a better experience for the baby as well.